Good evening, everyone. Hi, this is Otis Bird III, and I'm going to continue my 2013-2014 NBA regular season predictions video. And now I'm going to, my last video I just did my predictions for the Western Conference, and now I'm going to do my predictions for the Eastern Conference. So, number one, I'm definitely going to pick the Heat. I mean, how can you not pick the Heat? Number one, I mean, you have LeBron. They have LeBron. They have, of course, Chris Bosh, D Wade. And they even added some pieces, off the bench. Of course, they brought Michael Beasley back. He was going through, of course, he went through some troubles as you saw, with substance abuse. But I mean, we'll see how he does with the Heat coming off the bench with them. And then they also took a chance on Greg Oden. We'll see how he does. Will he be able to stay healthy? I'm sure the Heat, probably ease him back in, off the bench during the season. But we'll see how that looks like. But the Heat are still a great team, probably one of the most complete teams in the NBA right now. Especially with, of course, with LeBron doing his thing. So definitely going to put the Heat number one in the East. Second, you have to go with the Pacers. Pacers are a really good team. With of course with Paul George, leading the way there. Roy Hibbert. Interested to see what Danny Granger does this year. I saw he only played 5 games last year, but I mean he definitely will play more games this year. We'll to see what role they have him in this year. Who knows? They might trade him this year, but I think definitely the Pacers are definitely the second best team in the East right now. And they're a really good team. They have a decent bench. They also added Luis Scola as well, so he'll definitely be a factor for them. Lance Stevenson, George Hill, and they're just a really good team. So I'm definitely going to put the Pacers as my second seed in the East. Third seed, I'm going to go with the Nets. The Nets had an interesting offseason. Of course, Jason Kidd is their head coach now. They brought in, they made the big trade with the Celtics, brought in, KG, brought in Paul Pierce and Jason Terry. And they'll definitely add a lot to what the Nets already have with Darren Williams and Brooke Lopez, Joe Johnson, and all the pieces they already have there. But the Nets are probably, they'll definitely make some noise this year for sure. And I think they'll be the third seed in the East this year. Fourth seed, I'm gonna go with the Knicks. The Knicks had an interesting offseason as well. I mean, they added, the artist formerly known as Ron Artest, Meta wrote piece. They added him, so he'll be an interesting piece coming off the bench. Provide some defense, probably provide some toughness for them. Of course, Carmelo's going to lead the way there. It's interesting to see what Amari Stoudemire can do. I don't know how much he'll play this year, but we'll see what he does this year. Of course, they still have Tyson Chandler. They have Iman Shumpert. Raymond Felton. We'll see what he can do this year. They added Bino Udrich. So I mean, the Knicks are still a decent team. We'll see what they do this year, and I have them as my fourth seed in the East this year. Fifth seed, I'm gonna have to go with the Bulls on that one. The Bulls, of course, Derrick Rose, came back in the during the exhibition season, and he played well. I mean, he missed a year, so of course he's not going to look how he did before his ACL injury in the playoffs in 2012. But I mean, he's definitely a great player, and the Bulls are definitely a good team. They still have Joakim Noah there, Carlos Boozer. They lost Bellinelli, which might hurt a little bit, but I mean they still have a decent team. They have Kurt Heinrich still, who they got him from. I mean, he went back to the Bulls last year. They went back to the Bulls last year. They also let Nate Robinson go, which was kind of interesting. I thought he would for sure. They stay with the Bulls, but he went to the Nuggets, so that he's going to help them out, I guess. But yeah, so the Bulls will still be a good team. In the East, I have them as a fifth seed in the East this year. Sixth seed, I wasn't really sure about that as much because it's kind of like after you get past the Heat, the Pacers, the Nets, Knicks, and even the Bulls, it's kind of 5 through 8's kind of, or 6 through 8's kind of a toss up. Like you're not really sure who can get those last 3 spots in the East. It's that wide open, even though the East isn't as good. But I mean, but yeah. So the sixth seed, I kind of just I think I'm just going with the Hawks as a sixth seed. I mean, they lost not Joe Smith. They lost Josh Smith, and that'll definitely be a factor for them. Even though they brought in Paul Millsap, they brought in Elton Brand. That they have Teague at point guard who will definitely he came to his own last year. They still have Al Horford. They still have Kyle Korver. I mean, they have some shooters and they have guys who will definitely help them out. But I mean, I'm still not really that high on them really. I mean, who's their starting small forward? I'm not really sure. But I mean, they'll probably be an okay team, I guess. But I'll put them as 6th seed in the East. 7th seed, I'm going to go with the Cleveland Cavaliers. They had an interesting offseason this offseason as well. Of course they added Andrew Bynum. They're going to see how much he plays this year. He'll definitely be a factor for them at some point. If healthy. So we'll see how he does. Of course they have Anderson Varejao. They have former Warrior Jared Jack. Of course they have Kyrie Irving who will definitely lead the team. They also have Dion Waiters, of course, who alongside Kyrie Irving. They have Tristan Thompson. I mean, they have a lot of decent pieces. They definitely could make some noise this year, and they could, be a playoff team for sure. Some people think that LeBron might eventually go back to Cleveland, and maybe they're kind of getting the pieces together so that LeBron can have the supporting cast back there. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. But this year, though, I mean, the Cavs will probably definitely be a decent team this year. They could be heard from later in the year, make some noise, make it to the playoffs. But yeah, I have them as the 7th seed in the East this year. And the 8th seed, I might have to go with the Wizards on that one. They just made a big trade today. I think like a few hours ago, they traded for Marcin Gortat, Shannon Brown, and I forgot who else is in the trade. But they made a big trade with the Suns. The Suns are just just shedding salary at this point, I think. But yeah, the Wizards made a huge well, I guess I don't know if a huge trade today. At least trade that help them out. They traded Gortat and Shannon Brown for Emeka Okafor and I think draft picks or something like that. But yeah, Gortat would definitely help them out as well, and of course Bradley Beal will help out, and of course John Wall is leading the team there, and they have a nice team of the Wizards though. So we're going to see what they do this year. I think they'll make like the Cavs. They'll make noise this year. They'll be hurt from later in the year. But yeah, I'll put the Wizards as my 8th seed in the East. So I'll run my picks down again for the East. I have the Heat #1 as my 1st seed, the Pacers as my 2nd seed in the East, the Nets as my 3rd seed in the East, Knicks as the 4th seed in the East, Bulls as the 5th seed in the East, 6th seed I have the Hawks there, 7th seed I have the Cavs, and the 8th seed I have the Wizards. So so those are my Eastern Conference predictions right there, and this concludes my 2000.